Imagine a country with not a single meter of coastline, yet its flag is flown on oil tankers shipping millions of barrels of Russian crude. That country is Mongolia. And it's not alone. More than half the world's merchant ships by deadweight tonnage are registered in open registries, often flags of convenience. How did we get here? And why has a 40-year-old treaty designed to require a genuine link between a ship and its flag state been completely ignored? Our story begins not on an ocean, but in a speakeasy. In the 1920s, American shipowners wanted to serve alcohol to passengers on the high seas, something illegal under Prohibition. Their solution: register their vessels in Panama, where the rules didn't apply. This was the birth of the flag of convenience. Panama had already opened its ship registry in 1916, offering easy online registration long before the web, the ability to employ cheaper foreign labor, and a full exemption on income taxes. Owners didn't need to be Panamanian, or ever visit the country. The concept of an open registry, no nationality or residency requirement, was born. It was a legal valve that turned a prohibition into a profit. And once opened, it would never close. Open registries didn't just stay in coastal nations. By 1968, Liberia, a small West African nation, had passed the United Kingdom to become the world's largest ship register. Liberia was open registry, no questions asked. Then something unexpected: landlocked countries realized they could do it too. Switzerland, a country defined by mountains and lakes, has operated a civilian high seas fleet since the mid-20th century, with its home port in Basel on the Rhine. As of 2006, that fleet numbered 26 vessels, nearly 500,000 tons of shipping. It's a surreal sight, a flag of mountains and chocolate on a container ship far from any Alps. More recently, the tiny African kingdom of Eswatini, entirely surrounded by land, set up its own ship registry. The logic was inescapable: if a flag requires no genuine link, why would a coastline matter? Today, more than half the world's merchant deadweight tonnage sails under open registries, many from countries whose only connection to the sea is a piece of paper. The international community saw the problem decades ago. In 1986, the United Nations opened for signature a convention designed to eliminate flags of convenience by requiring a genuine link between a ship and its flag state, something like real ownership, management, or crew. The treaty would enter into force only after 40 countries ratify it, and only if those countries together represent at least 25% of the world's merchant tonnage. That threshold was set deliberately high, because the big open registries never intended to sign. Shipping giants and flag states lobbied hard, and the treaty was left to gather dust. As of 2026, 4 decades later, the convention still hasn't entered into force. It sits in legal limbo, unratified by the very flag states whose ships carry most of the world's cargo. The valve that opened in a Prohibition-era speakeasy had been formalized as a permanent feature of global trade. By the 2020s, the combination of open registries and landlocked flags had birthed a new beast, the shadow fleet. In October 2023, the IMO defined it as predominantly older, poorly maintained tankers with unclear ownership, operating specifically to move sanctioned oil and avoid high insurance costs. Between 300 and 600 such vessels are believed to be at sea. Panama, Liberia, and the Marshall Islands remain the 3 biggest registries, their flags accounting for a huge share of the global fleet. But landlocked Mongolia emerged as a particularly brazen player. Its paper fleet became a key tool for Russia to evade Western oil sanctions after 2022. At the same time, the U.S. Treasury uncovered a network moving Venezuelan crude through flag of convenience tankers, with a Swiss trading firm in Geneva, Swiss Oil Trading SA, brokering at least 5 shipments to Asian buyers. A landlocked European country, Switzerland, was helping move sanctioned oil across hemispheres. The flags had become a weapon. Law enforcement started hitting back, but the targets keep multiplying. In 2019, the U.S. seized the North Korean cargo ship Wise Honest, a 581-foot vessel carrying 25,500 tons of coal worth $2.99 million, detained in Indonesia with its AIS tracker often illegally registered under both North Korea and Sierra Leone. In the Venezuela case, the Treasury imposed sanctions on 3 individuals, 14 entities, and 6 vessels operating through Panama and Malta. Then there's vessel identity laundering. exploiting bureaucratic flaws in the IMO ship numbering system to create shell identities. A study found that 6 out of 7 vessels doing this switched to the convenience flags of Cameroon or Tanzania. But for every ship seized, registries in new landlocked states keep emerging. The 1986 treaty that could have stopped this sits unratified, leaving enforcement a game of whack-a-mole on a global scale. So where does the money go next? With big registries under scrutiny, the real growth is now in the smallest, most unexpected flag states, places like Eswatini. This landlocked African kingdom set up its registry just as the shadow fleet was expanding, raising profound questions about what it means to be a flag state. Even as Treasury officials freeze assets, vessels simply reflag to another landlocked registry, a game of maritime hot potato that no treaty can stop. For a poor, landlocked country, selling flags can be a lucrative business, no coastline required, just a stamp. The 1986 convention remains the only legal tool that could force a genuine link, but as of 2026, it's no closer to entering into force. The legal fiction that turned a prohibition speakeasy loophole into a $1 trillion global shipping backbone is still intact. And as long as that fiction holds, any country, with or without a beach, can become a maritime empire, one paper flag at a time. So, a landlocked country with no beaches can indeed have a bigger merchant fleet than most coastal nations. The secret isn't seamanship, it's a 100-year-old legal loophole that refuses to die. The flag of convenience was born from American Prohibition, perfected by Panama and Liberia, and then hijacked by landlocked states from Switzerland to Mongolia to Eswatini. Every attempted fix has failed because the very countries benefiting from the system have no incentive to change it. The 1986 UN Convention sits on the shelf, unratified, as the world's shadow tanker fleet grows. With each new sanctions crisis, a fresh wave of registrations floods the smallest landlocked states, proving that in global shipping, geography is merely a suggestion. The next chapter won't be written by enforcement agencies, but by whichever tiny, landlocked nation launches its registry next, turning a lack of coastline into a competitive advantage. The only thing rarer than a coastline in this business is political will.